You want to kick it off? I can handle the slides for you if you want.
Sure, I would be happy to. Welcome, everybody. I hope that breakfast was amazing for those of you in the room, and I'm very excited to have all of you here for the St. Louis Doug Meetup. My name is Liz Hallen. I'm the VP here at Dynamics User Group, otherwise known as Doug. And before we jump into the wonderful content that Michelle and team has put together for you all today, I wanted to just give you a little bit of an introduction to Doug in case you're not familiar. So we are a worldwide user group community, and we offer free membership for individuals. And really our mission is to help all of the community members that use Dynamics 365 products, Dynamics GP or Power Platform, to really give you ways and methods to get educated, network with each other, all in a very free or very low cost option. Today we have grown to 44,000 worldwide members, so very excited about that. You can go to the next slide, Michelle. Ways that we do that, one is the Doug Meetup that you're joining today. That's one of the ways that we are getting people together and helping to educate and train, but we do have several other programs for you that are also free, and many are available online. So we do have our online discussion forums. We have webinars that are presented by community subject matter experts, all education on those core Dynamics and Power Platform products. We do have a Skill Up program as well, which is more in-depth online training. And these courses do have, so most of them have a fee, and that's because we share that revenue with the trainer. Most of them are certified trainers. Our conferences, which I'll talk about in just a second here, we're probably most known for our Dynamics Con events, both virtual and live. And in addition to that, we have a very robust YouTube channel, which is accessible all the time. And it looks like we're recording today's event, and YouTube is one of the places where you can find these recordings, in addition to many other sessions that we've hosted. Again, all on that great education network and training. So I encourage you to visit us at dynamicsusergroup.com to sign up for your free membership and learn more about all of our awesome programs. Diving in a little bit deeper, I did want to just do a quick plug for our upcoming regional meetups. These are a little bit larger in scale to what's happening today. Our next one will be in Philadelphia on June 12th. We've got one in Ohio, in Columbus. We're going to be coming to Canada, also the Southeast United States, as well as Texas. So keep your eyes and ears open to the Doug community, and we'll have more information coming about all of our larger regional meetup events soon. Our large annual conference, however, is Dynamics Con Live. That is coming up here in just a few short weeks. Next month, we will be in Denver, Colorado at the Marriott Tech Center, and super excited. We're going to be bringing together, our goal is 2,000 community members, and we have educational sessions on all the D365 products, GP, as well as Power Platform, and lots of cross-product content too. Very excited and would love to have you all join us in the Mile High City. On the next slide, I do have a promo code for you if you have not registered yet and are thinking about joining us. We'll have over 250 sessions on the agenda, and this 15% promo code will give you 15% off of your registration for this event. Very excited. Dynamics Con Live has been a phenomenal event, and just a really great way for you to all meet in person and continue that education and networking opportunities. We do have a sister event. This is not an event that Doug hosts, but we are very close partners with the folks who are running Dynamics Minds. This is a European-based event. So if you have European colleagues, they will be hosting their Dynamics Minds event the end of May in Slovenia, Europe. And this is also another really great community effort and gathering space over on the European side. 20% discount here for anybody that's wanting to go. It's going to be an awesome event. This will be their second annual event. And if traveling and having travel budgets is just not available to you this year, we would love to invite you to our DynamicsCon virtual event. Our virtual event is going to be a one-day event. It's going to be a full day of phenomenal content. It'll be held on November 13th. And we do have our session submission process open right now. We just opened it 12 days ago. And what's really cool about this event is that all the community is truly led by the community. And what I mean by that is everybody in this room, if you have an idea, you want to share some of your expertise and knowledge, please submit a session. We would love to see that. And what's awesome about it is after the session submission period closes, we turn over all of those session submissions to the community to vote on. And you will see the highly voted sessions will be the ones that we will have on our final agenda in November. We have had thousands of people join us for this virtual event in the past, and we're looking forward to welcoming back many, many more. So that is all that I have with a quick Doug intro. So Michelle, I will turn it back over to you so you can introduce our wonderful speakers today.
Thank you. And David?
Sure. Well, thank you, Liz, for that great introduction to Dynamics User Group. My name is David Friedrichs. I'm a partner at Covenant Technology Partners. I lead our Dynamics practice, and so I'm really thrilled to be here. We've had a long relationship with the Dynamics User Group teams. It's changed over the years. Obviously, we had pre-pandemic, pandemic, and post-pandemic. It's kind of like pre-war, post-war, that sort of thing. But we're really thrilled to be part of their, in their relationship with them and with all of you. So thank you all for coming today. For those of you who are joining online, thank you for joining us online. We've got a number of folks in the room that are from Covenant, just kind of representing that relationship. So we're thrilled to be here. So Covenant is a partnership. We're a Microsoft only technology firm located here primarily in St. Louis. Again, if we go back in time, we would have been almost exclusively in St. Louis. But in today's world, we actually have folks from really across the nation, many of whom are joining us remotely today. So we've got our CRM practice represented today with Bobby Smith, and we got folks on the channel as well. Business Central lead here is Lynn Blatt, and then we've got a finance function and firm as well who is also joining us remotely. So with that, again, thank you all for being here, and I'm going to let Lynn take it away.
Good morning. Thank you, David. This past week has been a launch event for quite a few different areas for Business Central. They've had the Copilot that they continue to expand, and also the current 2024 Wave 1 release has just come out. It's interesting because I was waiting for the latest release. It finally hit on Wednesday and did become active. So we'll show that and we'll walk through some of these different areas. There's so many improvements that you'll have to bear with me with. Some of them, we have a limited amount of time, and so I'll go through some of the highlights. Touching on Copilot, that our partner Doug Meyer always talks about. If you're old enough like me and you can think back to 1989 through 1992, and the internet was really getting going and things were clunky. I sat online in my office with a 2400 baud router, and we would try to get a website to come up. And now we're in a spot where Copilot is really taking over a lot of different areas within the Microsoft ecosystem. And so hopefully today, what I'm going to show you will be of some interest, and just realize that this is just the beginning. Last year, Microsoft on 2023 Wave 1, they released an item text. We'll go through that today, but last year was kind of clunky. Today, it's pretty reasonable. Don't know that we would use that, marketing folks would use it, but it's a wonderful way to bring tone and relevance to some items that you might just put down as a chair. And so we'll walk through some of these. So today, the idea is to look at the Copilot chat that just came out. No different than the item description that came out last year. It's evolved. And I was talking with Jonathan about it before here, that, just the way that they do that search is going to be evolving and changing here. And so what we have today will be continuing and continue to be enhanced. But it's wonderful to see these tools start to come alive. And anybody that has had Teams meetings and have recorded those, we are so used to now the transcripts and being able to, at the end, take and say, what are some actionable items from that? That's the same evolution that you're going to start to see now within the ERP solutions. And so with that, we'll start to look at here some of the Copilot AI features. So let me escape and go back into here. So one of the first things that I don't know if you can see my screen, but I have asked it varying questions. Find me the revenue account in the chart of accounts. It says, sorry, I can't find that. Okay, try to phrase it differently. Then it was trying to find the invoice. But all of a sudden, if I say, look up the item that is the most popular item in sales, it came back with, and if I just click on it, it came back with, this is the most sellable item that we have within our demo set. And so it works. It will continue to evolve because that's going to be incorporated just like what you see now in Teams and all throughout the Microsoft that replaced the O365 is now the Microsoft 365 platform. So these are features that will continue that progress, but it is up here now on a menu, and it's just literally click on it and it will remember what you've been asking, and you can go to just a lookup, or you can say, you know what, explain to me how a certain area in the system works. And then there's also a guide. And that guide, a new feature that came out this wave, 24, wave 1, is now a page scripted, and it's in preview, but F&O has the same functionality. So if you have a sales process that you want to document step 1 through step 10, and you save it, and now you go to a new version of the software, or you've made some modifications through an extension, you can now replay this and it will tell you that it is working successfully, or it will end up failing and say that, you know what, it's due to the extension. And that gives you an opportunity to know what has to happen before you bring on the latest release that might be being used or developed for your company. So it's a really nice feature. There's also a testing tool that's here, just while we're looking at it real quick. This is a tool that everyone should be aware of, and they should be looking at how can we incorporate this, because these tools now are ways that you can have your development staff, and any changes that are made, they document that and they'll run ahead of time and let you know before you install another release. So it just takes a minute with our connection in here. But with that, Soon as you run it, again, it will give you, within a few milliseconds, give you an update for each of those tests and let you know that they either passed or if they failed. Must not have any in this one sandbox environment. So from our list, one of the areas that we have to look at is Copilot AI. So this is a new page that they brought out. If you want to click on a page and you want to save that, you just hit the banner here and that'll save it back to your main home screen. But this gives you everything that is active within Copilot that Microsoft has brought live for us. And so what you'll see is the bottom one, which is just the item text. It's now deployed and it's pretty robust. Again, bear in mind, I don't know that we would use it all that often, but it is, and I'll show you that pretty quickly. It works very easily. The other ones that are all up here are ones, some of them have been out since last fall, wave 2. One of the most useful ones, we'll walk through that as well, is the bank reconciliation. That is really helpful for all of the financial folks out there that burden themselves with trying to make a match between their bank statement and the ERP solution. So it makes that really simple. Some of the others is you can analyze the list. Now, folks that were back in from a GP world, they had a few of these tables that were always at the highlight of a reason that they didn't want to change from their software and their management reporting. But with this analyst tool, this analyzes on every page now, and it makes it almost like a pivot table, not having to go to Excel at all. You can stay within the page, sort your data, and get your answers right here and now. And that's a wonderful feature. Another one that we're headed towards is everybody has heard of OCR. And that has been around for 15 years. And, you see this snapshot of a receipt or an invoice, and you can teach and learn the software. So Power Apps has that available, and we can integrate that in with Business Central. The transactional fees are very similar to like Continia and other top tier OCR providers. Katana, that's another one out there. There's several others, but it's the fact that they are trying to make the ecosystem within Microsoft, so the Power Apps come alive with that OCR technology, but it's really getting replaced. And the replacing is going to e-documents so that you can send out a sales invoice and you can receive to a website, to an email site. And I'll show you that walking through and being able to receive the invoice from a vendor, match it. And this is where the Copilot is really helpful, is being able to sync up all those invoice lines, because they may be asking you to pay one line from one PO, 2 lines from another, 10 lines from a third PO, and all of it kind of comes together. So I'll showcase that for you here. But the Copilot landing page, that'll be one that you want to definitely have on your Role Center going forward. So without ado, then, this is our home page or our Role Center. And what you can see here is the activity and queue boxes start to come alive. They're incorporating the Power Automate and incorporating Power BI, which all is being transferred to Fabric. But within that, the features all come alive on your dashboard. So one of the first ones that we talked about is, let's see here. We talked about chat, and right now it's burdened by the use of your words to help narrow that. Because then without it, it looks throughout the whole entire system. But it does bring back the answers. And I think this will be a tool that within a year, it will be evolved enough to really be a tool that you're going to work with every single day. The next one is this item description. So let's go into one and I'll walk through one for you. So if I just pick, let's say a London chair, and over here, of course, it gives you this marketing text. But just to go into Copilot, and now it's incorporating the Copilot logo. It's bringing up that assistance guide. So from here, I can click on the tone. Let's just say it's a formal, and I want this to be a paragraph. Oh, let's make it brief. And then the emphasis being on innovation. And with that, just regenerate, and within a few seconds, it pops in. Now that used to be 30 seconds to 45 seconds a year ago. No different than the Copilot chat that we showed just early on here. But it's kind of nice. And so if you have thousands of these that you really want to have marketing, have a guidance with, and be able to extract and put out on Shopify or your website for a presence, then you can customize that. And then it's brought in. What it's really looking at is not only the item characteristics, but the attributes. And one of the other features while we're here is the ability to use AI, which was OpenAI. They're now changing to Azure AI and machine learning. So with that capability, it's really trying to help you do a better sales forecast, and it's trying to help you on a cash flow statement. So they're using that OpenAI, which is, it has the feature to put seasonality, trends, weighted averages, and there's 30 different models that you can bring to bear within the software. And it's all coming in as part of what you would see here as the forecasting. And so here's the sales forecast for this item. Then show me the inventory forecast. And it shows that, okay, I'm looking like I have enough inventory here to carry the sales. And then I can go into the settings and I can pick out, my models that I want to look at. And so, these are just a few that we can use that's within this setup page, but you can go over to the OpenAI. It's going to tell me that when I click on the classic, it's going to tell me that by August, it is retiring and becoming only a solution that will then be hosted by the Azure platform. But this here is now ways that you can even bring in additional functionality for your forecasting. So 45 years ago, when we were talking, being in college and you're sitting there going, well, how does all that work? It was, having different smoothing techniques. And as a master scheduler, you were taught, how to use some of these. These now are available to us, and they can help you once you get past the learning curve of how to set up this model and which one of the, the forecasting tools help you best. So over, See down here, back one. There is ones that Microsoft already has, and they put that at the top. And then, of course, you can make your own, and it can be customizable to your forecasting needs and the kind of models that you want. So here's one that's for testing cash flow. Just touch on that. That again is the ability for Copilot to start to now predict what's going to happen with a customer and their ability to pay on time. And what is the drag on a revenue stream that's out there? Maybe your terms are 30 days, but historically, all of a sudden it's a 45-day. And now by the time you get a check and actually cut it and put it in the bank, it's 50 days. Okay, that can have a prediction and help you with your forecast on your cash flow. So those are, again, another area that really starts to be, helpful. Let's see here. Go back here. Okay.
Ask a question.
Yeah, sure.
So on your predictive models, what did you say was driving that? Did you say something about Azure or?
So it was OpenAI.
Okay.
Microsoft bought them. They're actually bringing that into Azure. And so it's machine and AI learning. That's the name within Azure. You can see that now, but you don't have to go to that today. You still can go to the classic, but as of August, that will be retired, the old OpenAI, and it'll be now incorporated in Azure.
Yeah, just a quick question. So to what degree is this public information they're bringing in, or is it information that's from the Microsoft Graph system, or information that would be in a client's database, or is there an option for either public or private, either one?
Public or private, right? So all the OpenAI will go into Azure. It'll be upon you to take that and make that data yours, and then you can make that private. And so again, if you wanted to just use, anybody out there in the world can still publish an OpenAI, and maybe it's for a different type of forecasting for retail or toys for Christmas. And if you want to put that out there, people can grab that through the OpenAI, but then you customize that to make it yours, and you bring it and keep that as a private setting.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the forecast, and let's see what was next here. Item forecast. Bank reconciliation. So you guys have probably seen this. Again, it's not a new feature for this portion of 2024 wave one, but the idea is you would have a bank account statement that you would either have, any one of those. What you're doing is you're picking out from that your ability to say, okay, here is the bank statement that came in, and this could be made up of multiple entries. Well, it's very difficult for somebody that's sitting there trying to align what is that $177 made up of if there's multiple lines. If it's a one-to-one line, even the old system up here where it says auto match, you could find it. But when it becomes multiple, 5 to 100 that make up that transaction amount, it's difficult. So Microsoft was trying to prove out a point here, added multiple entries, and the auto match didn't work. Well, that was a tool that's been there for 5-6 years, but that tool couldn't find the complex amount of entries. And then all of a sudden with Copilot now being involved, it found all 10 lines and says it's 100% match. It's like, the dentist, 4 out of 5 dentists say that, you're preferred. I don't know that it would be 100% all the time, but 80% of the time, that's extremely helpful when you're looking at a bank statement that'll have all those different lines and you're trying to match it out in a bank reconciliation. So if you have Business Central and you haven't tried that feature, please do. It is really, really amazing. Let's see here, next screen. The cash flow setup. So I think we talked about that a little bit. In here, there is a late payment setup, and that's just a page that you go into. Once you're there, the other is you have to do a cash flow setup. So let's go back to our home center. And cash flow, they don't make it in podiums. They make them for like 5'7" guys, but not 6'6". But it's okay. Don't look at my top. So in here, again, you can get, these are just a normal setup, but now the Azure AI that I was mentioning a while ago that starts to come into play, you now have your own URL and your own key as you start to lock down from an open AI to now a private area. But right now, you can still go to the open Azure gallery and it'll show you right here some of the preferred filters. Here it shows you some different prediction experiments. There's all kinds of these that are available to you, and you could select those. But once you select them, right now you have to kind of go to the classic client. Unless you have Azure, you could, it's available for us right now, but it's getting in there to do the actual running and updates of all of this. Okay. Let's see here. I'm not have it show up right there. That one, that one, and hold this back here. So the other is for this release in Microsoft, F&O has the same thing. You kind of customize a role center, an area that's like a dashboard for you. What they've come out with this time in this release is a AR dashboard that's new. And so here is your accounts receivable administrator, and it's starting to pull in these Copilot features for predictive management, for understanding, where your balances are at. And this is going to evolve. One of the other, so two features in here. One is Microsoft Business Central has been plagued for years with, they always say, you don't have relevant reports. We always got to kind of modify them, make them more. Well, it's almost true. I mean, no matter what client we talk about, they have a certain perspective on the way that they look at that. And that's not good or bad. That's just reality. But Jet Reports that was there years ago, there was all kinds of other report, writers that you could easily extract data. They're now trying to incorporate Excel reports. And so for this release, they have 10 right now. They say by the fall, between now and fall, that they'll have 35 more. And they're really trying to, again, keep the Microsoft person that likes that ecosystem to be in that platform and be immersed in that whole solution. So Excel is coming alive in all of the Business Central, and they're coming alive with additional ones after that. They said that this next release, Wave 2 in the fall, will be another major push, and that will start to help giving additional reports that you can get your fingers to right away. But part of the features that are here today that most of the clients that I work with really enjoy is from this, any list page, I think I mentioned before, you can go and analyze it. So an analyzed list, it's going to say, you know, what do you want? Is the IS value say this. And again, Copilot's going to try to find that for us. And see, sometimes it still doesn't find it. But again, that's an area that they're working on. This is the analysis area. And what we were talking about is folks in GP have seen this data presented in this way. And one of the features are, just like if you're in Excel and you're trying to do a pivot table, this is what comes alive as a way to present your data without leaving. The other that they have is, and most of, like I said before, most of the clients that I have just love it, is open and edit in Excel. So open in Excel just literally takes you to all of this data and just presents it out here so that you can open it up in an Excel workbook and it's at your fingertips. But the metadata that's here is if you signed in with your Microsoft 365 account and you have the ability to connect to Business Central, you could edit within this. And the other tools that are here is now you're starting to use the Copilot features that have come alive in Microsoft 365. So here is, you know, Copilot for Excel and analyze data and then bring it back. So these are, again, just different ways. Now, there are, most of the time it's financial folks, but they don't like the edit in Excel and bring it back. You know, that there's some validity there on some ledger entries that maybe we wouldn't want to have come into a journal, potentially get posted. But there are plenty of areas where you can allow that to be exposed and to allow the user to go to something that they're comfortable with and just from Excel, publish it back, and it will add this to the list. When I'm thinking about permissions, one of the other features that have come out recently is in the old days with NAV, we had Easy Security. It was a tool back in 2013 through maybe 2018, really popular. And it was easy to use and it had field level security. And now Business Central has field level security. You can hide fields that are on a page from users, or you can limit them to read only, but they can't edit it. And if you, at a bare minimum, want to turn that on, you can have change logs. And so that change log then would allow for the data that I put in on a customer card to be there. But Steve or Jonathan or David change that, and all of a sudden it's capturing that change log. And now you can turn on notification. You could turn on notifications for the card, like a customer card, or you can turn it down to the field that is maybe the payment terms, or maybe it's the bank account. Instead of having it go to Granger as a payable, you've decided to change it to Steve Thomas's bank account. And you know what, whenever I pay, you know, we're set. But it's,
I'm okay.
yeah. And so there are folks in the finance world that love that capability. It is new and it is rarely used, but it is there for us. And so take advantage of that. So a lot of times whenever one of the things that I'll do is, field monitoring. Come on. And so once you turn this on, this is who's going to get the notification each time something major changes. And you want that right person, because otherwise, for me, when I get overwhelmed, I hit red email and all of a sudden, it goes on past. So you want that right person to be able to go to this worksheet. And so now what it's showing us here is that for any given table, here are the entries. And do I want to have them notified? Or do I want to go into the field level, to the field itself and remove the GL account so that nobody can even see them? These are all featured within this monitoring field worksheet that has now come available for us. So let's see here. How are we doing on time? 20 minutes. Okay.
Lynn, on that last feature that you just showed us, right? I'm trying to think of a use case, and what comes to mind would be, I've got a budget owner, and they're operational. They're not really in the finance department, but they want to know when things get posted against their budget, like in real time. Would that be a valid use case for that sort of a notification?
It would.
Okay.
Common one is sales team wants to go into the customer card, and where it says limit, that maybe it's $10,000 or pick a higher number, $100,000. And if I got a sale that can get me to 120, I don't want it kicked out and rejected because they went over their limit. I want to edit that customer card and up that limit, and I'm off. And look, I made a sale today. Are you going to get paid for that sale? I don't know. We put that threshold in there for a reason, but that's where most common, absolutely top, is having that ability to then limit that field. And you may want to allow sales staff to see the threshold, or you may want to hide it altogether, and it's none of their business. Well, you've got to have a comfort of salespeople knowing, what our limit is for this customer. But it's the ability then to not change it. And that's another use there. But for sure, thanks, David. That was a good idea. So another area that we have that's coming live is the Copilot sales line suggestion. And so if you turn on your Outlook connector within Business Central, you'll have emails that can come straight to you from any vendor for customer, depending on the department you work in. If you turn on Teams, and I'll just show that real quick. It's called Assistant Setup. And so if we're in here, Assistant Setup, and there are features that really make sense to have incorporated. So when they say do more with Business Central, having a Excel add-in, almost a no-brainer. It used to be the first year it was out, it was only on a few tables and a few pages. Now it's on every page. The same with the Outlook. And this team, while I don't have it deployed here in this sandbox, that is an amazing tool. When you can think about 3 of you talking amongst the client and talking internally, I have an order that Lynn wants to buy this chair, but we only have 2 of them left. He wants 1 of them, but he's our top, customer. Do we send him one or do we not? You could have a chat in Teams, you can add Lynn to that chat from an external. Now, I don't have a Business Central license as a customer, but I can see that item card or inventory on hand, and I could literally drill into that one page without having a Business Central license. And so the same thing with senior management. You might have a scenario where you're in that team chat and one or two of the employees on that chat, they don't even have a Business Central license. But because it's inherited from the team, from Business Central back to the team, it makes that available. And all of a sudden that experience just comes alive. You click on that little link, it brings up the Business Central. You can look around on it. You can click on different, areas within that page, and you believe you're in there. And it's just a great tool to be helpful for, people that aren't normally in Business Central every day. So this is an area where all of the features that you want to set up. So if you need a new bank statement being brought alive or ACH, there are all kinds of ways to look at this assisted setup to help you, the user, without having to call anyone. The guidance set here is really quite intuitive. It's changed from, 10, 20 years ago when you had to know all of the tables that you were setting up before you could do a sales order. Now, if you have a sales order and something's not set up, it asks you, you know what, your payment terms aren't set up for this customer. Do you want to set it up now? And it'll give you a recommendation and a list to go forward with. And if you have maybe a tax payment, this item is taxed, but the customer isn't set up for tax. It'll recommend what to go into, and it'll help you guide you to setting that up. Again, intuitive, all the solutions are kind of headed there. I think Business Central does a great job of kind of being in front of that. Some of the larger systems that are out there, they're not quite as intuitive yet. You have to have that knowledge, and that takes years of experience. But as we incorporate Business Central, they're trying to make that experience for you, the user, on how you can succeed on your job easily. Let's see here. Back here. What else do I have? Sales. Okay. So I had set myself an email, and in that email yesterday, I had asked for a quote. Let's see what I'm set up as here. An accountant. Account receiving. So let's just make myself a business manager for now. These are a decision. Again, you'll get a chance to decide when you get into Business Central what role center you would have available to you. Some of them may be there. You may only have one. But for me, what I did yesterday was I had a sales order here, a quote, sorry. And in this quote, what I wanted to ask is, okay, tell me a suggestion. Now, one of the things that I can pull that up quickly from my email. Ask, can I have, and if I would put Lynn and it would recognize me attached to the customer card, it creates that customer already as a quote, and it puts me in as one of the contacts. But the new feature that's here is, okay, tell me, I asked it to buy 2 different chairs. And while it's generating here, it's gonna go out and look at the items and provide me a indicator of where and what chairs they believe I need. So in here, when I get a result from my email, it's gonna come back with an answer. And it happened to be the chairs that I wanted at the quantity I want. I went in further then and I said, okay, I don't know if I trust you. Tell me as a view, what is the confidence level as, you know, Copilot? And it provides that for me, and it said it was high. Now, of course, it's running slow with it being here, but it is, here we go. So this is the quantity, the chairs. And now if I wanted to look at view and tell me the confidence, it's going to go back and look at it for a second. And off of the words that I put in, which is key for all of this, is what words does the system recognize that gets you directly to the answer faster. And once it does that, it then will give me the confidence level and provide me the answer that I was needing. So I'll keep moving, considering that we're almost out of time. On this area, which is e-invoicing from a customer and the purchase, is a new feature that has come live in this release. And the connectivity is really starting to evolve and change. And so on a purchase line, it used to have a problem when it was one to many or many to one. And that was hard trying to find what invoice should it try to match up. But once we've got Copilot involved, it's able to find that easier. So finally, this one shows you, you know, the relevance that it's high, and you can then go ahead and insert those items onto your sales orders. And that was, that's kind of the gist of what it's doing. It took a little bit of time, I don't know, 20 seconds or so for 2 lines. If you had to do 300 lines or 1,000 lines, might take some time, right? But that's today's version compared to just hang on to it. It's works now, but it's going to get better and better. And that's going to be a major assist for you finding out how to tie back from a email that I sent that came into a sales department. It creates the quote. Once the quote's sent, it now goes back out through email and updates that person. And let's just say it's within an hour. They can send back saying, yes, turn it into an order, and it will understand that and convert that quote into a sale. So kind of exciting stuff. The part here, and I'll just use the purchasing because there's so much setup that has to be. Everyone that has Business Central will have the capability to go into the Contoso setup. And that's just a set of e-documents that are already predefined for sales and for the purchasing side. But if I'm here, all of a sudden I can go into, let's look at this guy, and now I want to, yeah. Manage. And it'll go out here and it'll look, and it's going to come back with, from that invoice, what does it find? Well, it found all of these different purchase orders from different lines on different purchase orders. And in here, the automated match, which was just base functionality before. And of course, they've set this up, you know, to showcase it. But you can see the difference. 3 out of the lines were actually found, but the remaining were all found by Copilot. And by doing that, I now have 100% match. So for folks that are on the AP side and getting flooded with documents, the old OCR technology is going away. They're doing this already in Europe, and it's headed this way. You need the ability to use this e-documentation, and part of that is setting up what is a data exchange type. So the default for Microsoft is PEPL, and that is above my pay grade, Jonathan. Maybe it's right in your wheelhouse, but it's like, for me, that data exchange type then gets defined, and now you have a service that provides the interaction between the two companies. And so with that, it is, once I say keep it, I bring it in, and this is really no different than the bank reconciliation on a monthly, transaction type. So we're matching purchase order lines that are in Business Central to an invoice that were brought in through imported lines for an invoice that a vendor is saying, hey, we need to get paid. So you can apply it to the purchase orders, and then you can post. And so it is just that simple. So again, another use for Copilot that will take hold and transform AP, the AR experience, the way sales interacts, and the way that we interact in a company setting. We can already see we're taking advantage of from the teams and integrations through Outlook. And if you're a Microsoft person, and I evolved from when it was back years ago, when it was just Word, and it wasn't even Word, it was Works, I think, but it was a just one tool. Then there came 2 or 3 by the 1990s. And to see that whole world expand and continue, and now trying to use that ecosystem to, it's hard for me sometimes just being in Business Central. I can't know just Business Central anymore. I need to know Power Apps. I need to know Power Automate. I need to know Field Service. I need to know CRM. And the knowledge there, we have at Covenant. And what's wonderful is not having to take that whole experience on ourselves. We spread it out, and we talk as a team that is a cohesive team that can bring that to any client. And the nice thing here is one of the other, probably 30% of the upgrades for what have happened in 2024 Wave 1 has been with service. And service is all about servicing your own equipment within a plant, or maybe you're an HVAC person and you want a simpler, lighter version that's already built in Business Central. If you want a more robust system, they have the connections to Dataverse, and they have the connections then to sales and into field service. And now when you're in field service, you have a bigger and more robust solution. But there is pieces of that are of interest. With the Dataverse, one of the things that they had was a change in resource to, for sales, a resource was a product. And for Business Central, a resource was going into a bookable resource. They don't put in, and that was going to be an item type. Right now, what's quirky is they want you to use Excel, open it in Excel, and change your item type to then be like a service item, to be a different product. But if you can't have a resource as a product. So people that have, dynamic sales, that's slightly different. Well, they got to work that little nuance out because this was a major release, and tying and unifying all this is going to evolve. And my cohort Bobby back here, he'll take care of and show you through a detail from how Business Central connects over to field service in the future. But it's like, if you need that kind of, service, reach out. We'll be glad to help you. Let's see. What else do I have in the top of the hour? Let's see. Any documents? I think I'll stop there. There was one on reoccurring journals, but I'll let you read our blog coming up, and I'll highlight these. There's about another 20 that are features, not as dramatic as this, but very helpful. So with that, Michelle,
Thank
come back to you.
Liz. We just asked if you guys can take a few minutes to complete this survey that I'm gonna share. It's gonna help us plan for our future user groups, which we're gonna hold quarterly. The next one I think will be in August.
And if you guys have some recommendations, ideas, feel free to reach out. This dynamic user group is evolving. It's been here for many years, but that, as every other chapter that's ever been through COVID, it's taken a major hit. And we were talking beforehand while we were having some coffee back here, how nice it is to talk one-on-one with somebody and to get their insight that you may not even thought about before you came here. It's always good to, listen, but if you get a chance to come on site, please do so. We'd love to meet you and love to get to know you more. And maybe you'll have insight for us as well. Thank you.